Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 3 start and sit videos for the tight end position. Again, this is for PPR and half PPR. If it is standard, you might adjust a little bit in these start and sits, but again, you could always ask us in the comments down below. Now, these are your obvious starts. I've got two guys you should be absolutely starting without question. Obviously, Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. These guys are usually pretty much matchup proof, so again, feel pretty comfortable with them. Now, as far as my first tight end I have as a good start, it's going to be Tyler HIGBEE. Look, HIGBEE has seen a lot of targets the last 2 weeks. He's going against the Cardinals, who, unfortunately, are probably one of the worst against defending the tight end. They've given up 29.1 points to the tight end position. On top of that, HIGBEE's just been targeted heavily. He had 14 points last week in fantasy. In this aspect, he can easily have over 100 receiving yards because the Cardinals linebackers are not great at covering the tight end. You do have some good speed on that defense, but for whatever reason, Budda Baker or Isaiah Simmons, or I don't know what their deal is, but they are just not covering the tight end. They're really focusing on more of the receivers. So not only do you have to deal with Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, who I think is going to have a good game, you still have HIGBEE, who's getting quite a few targets. So I like him a lot in this week. This is a really good matchup. I also have DAWSON Knox as a good matchup going against the Dolphins. Knox right now did see an increase in targets last week. He did have a dud the first week. He's also going against the Dolphins, who are allowing the second most points with 22.1 points in fantasy. They're allowing about an average of 100 receiving yards to tight ends. So this is a really good matchup for it. I think this is going to be a nice, fun game. A pretty heavily shootout game between the Bills and the Dolphins. The Bills do have a really good defense, so I think this might be more of a blowout. I know you Dolphin fans don't want to hear that, but this is going to be a game. There is going to be a shootout. I think Knox is going to be one of those guys who's going to benefit from it. Now, the last tight end I have as a good start, and I know a lot of you guys are probably not going to start him, is going to be Kyle Pitts. He has been a dud so far this season, averaging 3.9 points in fantasy, but he's going against the Seahawks right now, right? So the Seahawks are allowing 13.2 points to the tight end. They're also allowing over 60 yards receiving. Now, I have Drake London as a sit. You may end up having to start him based off of your lineup, but I think this is going to be the game where Kyle Pitts finally shows up and actually does turn it around. He has a game where I know he's a heavy focused, when it comes to the opposing defenses, but this is a game where I believe he's really going to turn it around and have at least 50 to 60 receiving yards and at least 5 to 7 catches in this game. Hopefully a touchdown to help add to the fuel, but I think this is going to be the one for him. Now, as far as sits go, the first guy I have as a sit is going to be Zach Ertz going against the Los Angeles Rams. This is a really tough matchup. The Rams have given up the second fewest points to the tight end with 3.5 points. They've also only allowed 2 receptions a game and just under 20 receiving yards. So, yes, I think this is going to be a really good game between, obviously, the Cardinals and the Rams, but I don't think Ertz is going to be the guy that's going to get it. Now, he was targeted heavily last week. I just don't know if that's going to be the same type of performance. You got Bobby Wagner on defense. I think they really do a good job of keeping the tight end position at a very minimal chance. Now, they haven't gone against amazing tight ends, but I think Zach Ertz is going to be the guy that's not going to be great this week. Now, Mike Gesicki I have as a good sit because realistically, he's not a big focal point on this offense. He finally did show up last week, which was great. But the tight ends have been underperforming against the Bills. They're only allowing under 6 points in fantasy. They're also keeping them under 30 receiving yards. And on top of that, you've got really good linebackers in Edmonds and Milano who've done a great job of covering the tight end. And like I mentioned before, McDaniels really used Gesicki as more of a inline blocking tight end than the receiving tight end that he really should be. I think he has the potential, kind of like he did last week, but I just don't think this is a matchup to turn it around. There might be a few games later this season, but not this week. The last guy I have as a good sit is going to be Dallas Goedert. Goddard's going against the Commanders. Commanders actually are a pretty good defense. They have only allowed 8 points to the tight end position and under 40 receiving yards. Now, Goddard is a weapon that obviously is used quite a bit for the Eagles, but with that said, there's still a lot of weapons for Hurts. Obviously, his own legs. He's got Miles Sanders and Gainwell. He does A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. So Goddard is not heavily relied on like he used to be in the past. Last week, I mentioned Goddard was a good option, and he did. He actually had a really good game. But this is a week I'm not really trusting him so much. Now, as far as my sleepers go, I have actually Logan Thomas in this same game as a good sleeper. The Eagles do allow over 13 points to the tight end position. They're allowing about 9 targets and over 50 receiving yards. So this is a game where I think Wentz might rely on him a little bit more. He's going to probably get about 5 to 7 targets in the game, which will help allow him to get probably close to that double-digit mark for you guys, especially if you're thin at the tight end position or if you're dealing with like an injury like maybe Schultz, who may be out. So I like Thomas as a good sleeper. Another sleeper I have is going to be J.J. Hawkinson. Now, Hawkinson normally is somebody you want to start every week, but he has not shown up at all really this season. But the Vikings are a defense that actually allows 12.9 points to the tight end position. They're allowing over 74 yards receiving. And with him being pretty quiet at 7 receptions in 2 games, I know a lot of people are kind of scared to play him this week. If you have other options, let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll let you, kind of help you decide and kind of sway you a certain way. But I think Hawkinson's actually going to be a good sleeper this week. I think this is going to be the week he really does turn it around. And I think that he's going to need to be targeted because I think this game is going to be a pretty fun passing game between Goff and Kirk Cousins. So I like him a lot. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for the tight end position of week 3. Again, this is full PPR or half PPR. If you guys do have questions about your lineup, maybe you have trade questions, again, hit us up in the comments down below. Also, if you have not already, check out our running back, quarterback, and wide receiver start and sit videos as well. We'll have a link for that to help you guys get in that playlist. That way you guys are ready and prepared for this week. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell is on. That way you guys are notified every time we drop a video just like this. And of course, if you did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. It is greatly appreciated. It helps us out a lot. Again, check out other start sit videos and we'll check you guys out next time.